Okay. Alcohol should be avoided in any case because it damages your mental and physical health, especially when you smash your head on the ground. But let's be realistic. If you feel like taking like a glass of wine, a glass of prosecco, a beer with friends every now and then, well, that's fine. If it happens once in a while, it's not a problem. The point is when it happens more often. This is the problem. Also because apart from the health consequences, without realizing it, well, alcohol can add a significant amount of calories, which over time can ruin your diet. Don't forget this. So the right question in this case is not can I drink or not, but how can I really count these calories? Where do the calories in alcohol come from, first of all? Let's start with the basics. Alcohol is not food, but it provides energy. Almost all calories come from the alcohol itself, not the sugar. Well, 1 gram of alcohol provides about 7 calories. So the key question is always this: how many grams of alcohol am I drinking? And well, how to calculate the grams of alcohol? In this case, the things that we need to do is very simple. Let's calculate how many milliliters of alcohol are we drinking. And well, let's multiply for the alcohol content. So the practical formula is this: milliliters of the drink multiplied per the alcohol content multiplied per 0.8, and this is the total amount of grams of alcohol. Now the question, why 0.8? Okay, because I like this number. No, I'm joking. Because alcohol weighs less than water. So 1 milliliter of water is 1 gram. 1 milliliter of alcohol weighs about 0.8 grams. To be very accurate, the conversion factor is 0.79 grams per milliliters. This is the specific weight of alcohol, but well, let's calculate by 0.8. So first of all, let's calculate the volume of pure alcohol, then convert it in actual grams. And this is not like a trick used by nutritionists, but just basic. Well, let's do some practical example. Let's go for the wine or prosecco. Well, the standard glass is 125 milliliters. And let's say the average alcohol content is 11%. Let's do some math. And well, let's see, 125. Well, I forgot like the metric units, but well, 125 multiplied by 0.11 multiplied by 0.8 equals 11 grams of alcohol. And 11 grams of alcohol multiplied per 7 calories is 77 calories. And that's why they say like a glass of wine or prosecco is approximately 80 calories. Of course, the small one, 125. What about sugars then? This is where the confusion arises. So far, we have only talked about alcohol, but not all the drinks are the same, of course. Let's talk about wine, sparkling wines, or the prosecco, for example. Generally, they have few calories from the sugar. Almost all calories come from alcohol, and especially if it's dry or root. But let's talk about the beer. This is slightly different. Why? Because it has less alcohol than wine, but more carbohydrates, more sugars. So the calories come from some from alcohol and a little bit from the sugars in beer. Let's go on the cocktails then. This is trickier because most people go wrong in here. Why? Because a cocktail is often like alcohol and added sugar, like Coca-Cola, juices, syrups, etc. So the classic example, or at least that comes to my mind, Jack Daniels and Coke. Alcohol from whiskey and sugars from Coke. So very simple, like extra calories. If you choose instead JD and Coke Zero, well, you remove almost all the calories from sugar and only those from alcohol that remains basically. Actually, you remove all the calories from sugar. And same alcohol, but very different calories. And this is important. Now, why this matters in your diet? Very simple. 2 main reasons. First, liquid calories are not filling, so they add up to food. Second, well, alcohol plus sugar. And well, not only that, because the alcohol itself make it easier to eat more without realizing it. Because with the alcohol intake, we release like those stopping mechanisms that says to ourselves like, okay, we did it enough, we can stop it. With alcohol, it's like we feel less and we tend to eat more. It's very simple. So In this case, many people say, well, I eat well, but I'm not losing weight. But they don't consider the calories of alcohol, and quite often that they tend to forget and eat more when they drink alcohol. So that's why it's so important. In conclusion, well, let's be clear. For your health, alcohol should be avoided. Period. That's the correct message. But if you ever drink every now and then, it's not a problem. The problem is not knowing what you're drinking, and especially how often you do that. When you understand how many calories come from alcohol and how many come from sugar, well, you start making better choices without dieting. And what's more, well, you also indirectly reduce the alcohol consumption. Why? Because you say like, those calories, I can avoid them. I can eat like more food or something that I like, etc. So you reduce the alcohol and the calories from alcohol. And well, this is health plus health. Technologia! Now, if you really want to understand what alcohol does to the body, well, metabolism, hunger, sleep, recovery, etc., I have a whole video dedicated to just that. And I'll attach it here, well, somewhere in this side. And because this was the first part, let's say. The rest is about understanding how it really works. Now, ciao!